Hello to all my DigiPeeps out there, young and old. Hope you're all doing well. It's one very hot Australian night, and I was just in my room sitting and thinking, and thought I'd come on here with a question for you all. Do you think we are going to get the Young Avengers in the MCU? Now, hear me out on this. We've already set up Kate Bishop. She's already debuted in the MCU, and she's going to be a mainstay for, probably the next 10 to 15 years. We have stature in the MCU. Scott Lang's daughter, Cassandra Lang. For those of you who don't know, she eventually takes her father's costume in the comics and basically becomes a female version of Giant Man. For those of you watching at home, we had, of course, Wiccan and Speed, who were both in the WandaVision TV series. As we've seen, Wanda is desperately trying to get her kids back, so honestly it's only a matter of time before they're back in the MCU. We've even had the MCU debut of Eli Bradley, who of course is a grandson of Isaiah Bradley. Those two of course appearing in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier TV series on Disney+. If we're sticking to the comics, Eli Bradley is set to become the Patriot, and if you haven't seen anything from him, I highly recommend checking him out. There's even things like Kid Loki, who again, he's already debuted in the Loki TV series on Disney+. And even characters like America Chavez, who she's set to make her debut in the second Doctor Strange movie. I was following up on some research and even found a character by the name of Hulkling. Basically just their younger version of Hulk. A green, youthful looking Kree/Skrull hybrid. He hasn't officially made his debut in the MCU yet, but I mean, Krees and Skrulls both have, so it's not a far-fetched idea to think that he could be coming in down the line. I mean, who knows? He's probably even set to make his debut in the She-Hulk TV series, set to debut later this year on Disney+. Now, there are some characters missing from that list, those being Iron Lad, Prodigy, and Noah Var. Iron Lad is, again, basically just a youthful, younger sort of Iron Man-esque character. But the interesting thing I like about him is he is a younger version of the villain Kang the Conqueror. And of course, we all know he made his debut in the Loki TV series as well. Given that there are some time travel shenanigans with his character, I mean, that's already been established in the MCU, and that basically means he could rock up at any given point in any movie. Continuing on with the likes of Prodigy, and he isn't a very well-known character. I mean, I didn't know anything about him until I started looking into the Young Avengers. He definitely seems like an out-there character to add, and probably one we won't see straight away, but again, not very impossible for the MCU, seeing as they did acquire the rights back to Mutants and the X-Men. And then, of course, Noah Var, who is known by his comics name Marvel Boy. Again, not introduced in the MCU, but he's affiliated with the Kree Empire, which has been introduced before, so it's not an impossible task for them to introduce him later on down the line. But then we do have the characters that I've mentioned earlier who have debuted in the MCU and are already a major part of what we're going to see going forward to Phase 4 and beyond. So it's probably just highly likely that they're going to throw all these pieces together and just make their own sort of version of the Young Avengers that we'll get in the MCU. And if you ask me, from who I mentioned earlier, that'd probably be a pretty good team. I mean, like the likes of Kate Bishop and Eli Bradley and Cassandra Lang. I mean, those three alone, they could have some really great battles. And then there's even room to move into things like Wiccan and Hulkling's relationship. If you didn't know, Wiccan and Hulkling are in a relationship together, and they are considered to have basically one of the highest profile gay relationships in comics. I mean, that in itself would be a great relationship for the MCU to dive into and explore and see how it develops. But then I'm definitely getting ahead of myself here. I mean, I just thought I'd come on here and see what you guys thought. If you maybe think we can get a young Avengers, possibly within the next 5 to 10 years, or maybe just the beginnings of a team like that. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below, and I mean, yeah, hope everyone's doing well, and I'll see you all in the next one.